Bonnie Kimmel with AB Handshake, here today to talk about our national anti-fraud platform as a solution to spoofing and fraud. Smishing, vishing, spams, and scams are rampant. Consumers will begin to distrust telecom channels and look to the government for protection. We know that when consumers stop trusting their phones, enterprises move to other channels, and that governments themselves have a stated interest in securing voice and SMS. Misinformation, spearphishing, and other attacks destabilize societies, causing unrest and distrust. Regulators will regulate. After all, countries that solve these problems have stronger economies and businesses. Operators who eliminate spoofing ensure enterprises will continue using SMS and voice as trusted channels. But if regulation is inevitable, does it have to be punitive? What if it were collaborative instead? With a cooperative framework, regulators and operators can achieve visibility, simplify compliance, and avoid complex legal procedures. Imagine if nobody in your country ever had to wonder whether they can trust a call or message. Subscribers, operators, enterprise, and regulators share common objectives, but ending this kind of fraud requires a national solution, one platform to work together in a national effort to stop scams and spam. What's on the market today? Operators have firewalls, fraud management systems, and number intelligence services, but these solutions don't detect all spoofing. Number spoofing is the key to so many fraud types, yet solutions like call labeling do not address it, and in fact might even cause more trust in spoofed calls. Roaming checks are a logical detection tool, but do nothing to address fraud from within the country, and most countries still lack a framework for sharing this information among competing local networks. In order to stop spoofing, all local operators must participate in a national approach. Of course, there is one very famous national approach. StirShaken has reduced robocalls and has had some success, but it also has many drawbacks. StirShaken doesn't offer central visibility, isn't practical for international traffic, and doesn't cover SMS or fraud for legal numbers. It is less approachable for smaller providers, and ultimately, there's little ROI for the operators. For these reasons and more, it is not expected to see wide adoption. Nations need accessible, simple, enforceable solutions that benefit all stakeholders. That's why AB Handshake has launched the National Anti-Fraud Platform. It combines two main technologies. First, end-to-end validation of all traffic through a patented out-of-band query. This handshake between the A and B parties confirms the legitimacy of voice and SMS traffic in real time. Originally designed for international roaming partners, it's 100% effective at detecting local number spoofing at the national level if all local operators participate. The second part is real-time AI-based fraud detection at the signaling level. AI applies behavioral analysis to over 200 different parameters. While validation stops spoofed local numbers, AI detects fraud from international numbers, legitimate local numbers, and complex patterns that aren't purely spoofing-based. So, how does validation work? Suppose a fraudster uses Anna's number to call Bruce. Operator B queries the platform, which compares the call details with Operator A. If no matching call details exist, it returns a negative reply, and Operator B blocks the call. The same principle applies to SMS using the sender ID. If legitimacy can't be confirmed, the terminating operator prevents the call or message from reaching the user. Validation addresses various fraud types: phishing, spam calls, smishing, robocalls, international misinformation campaigns, and impersonation attacks. It also targets interconnect and wholesale fraud like SIM-box and A2P bypass. Validation even covers some fraud types that uniquely target enterprise, like artificially generated SMS traffic. But we still need AI to catch what validation alone can't. With AI, we can detect suspicious patterns that don't rely on spoofing. Advanced machine learning models are trained on vast historical datasets and have shown a false detection rate of less than 1%. It understands normal traffic fluctuations, fingerprints, fraudulent behavior, and allows granular, precise blocking. It can automatically block when attacks start and even unblock when they stop. For SMS, AI uses predictive models, analyzes parameters, scores sender IDs, and, optionally, analyzes content and URL links to detect suspicious text patterns. Adding AI detection to validation additionally addresses Wangiri, IRSF, smishing and vishing from international or legitimate local numbers, short stopping, and flash calls from legitimate numbers. Enterprises gain protection from PBX hacking and artificial inflation of voice traffic. What does this look like together? At the national level, if a local number is verified, the message or call proceeds. If not, it's blocked or flagged. For international numbers, validation can't confirm the origin, so AI pattern analysis detects fraud in real time and allows operators to take various actions such as block, label, or alert based on fraud type. Regulation is a scary word for most operators, but ending spoofing and fraud at a national level benefits operators as well. Not only does blocking fraud boost trust and keep enterprises invested in voice and SMS channels, when international and interconnect fraud are effectively eliminated, operators see massive shifts in revenue, not to mention that new revenue streams are created by providing fraud prevention as a service to enterprise customers. Integration can be done in as little as 2 months for all operators in the country. Operators can connect via a simple API. I call this the self-service model, or rely on AB Handshake for a more full-service integration, including connectors and all the legwork. A regulator-owned model is an option. However, we've also seen operators in some countries take a collective approach, where the operators jointly own the central platform. Even deployed on a smaller scale, for example, if one major operator and one national bank participate, this has a significant impact by at least stopping impersonation attacks of the major bank to subscribers of the major carrier. This smaller POC arrangement might even set the stage for broader adoption. Operators can choose to supplement existing firewalls and fraud management systems with the AB Handshake platform, creating a layered defense. Other originators, besides operators, such as banks, other enterprise, and government agencies, can integrate with the platform to further protect themselves from impersonation and avail of optional services, such as improved fraud protection or querying to validate user behavior, like using approximate location to verify large banking transactions. The platform is technology and network agnostic. Because it's based on behavior patterns, the platform can accommodate emerging technologies like IMS-based services, VoLTE roaming, 5G standalone architectures, and potentially even future 6G protocols. This future-proof approach ensures the validation and AI detection capabilities maintain their value over time. The centralized nature of the platform lowers the overall risk. Rather than enforcement based on detecting violations, the evidence of compliance is centralized and visible, reducing the need for complicated legislation and punitive legal measures. Some countries do not allow blocking, but can instead opt for labeling of suspicious calls and texts or block only in certain circumstances. The centralized platform also paves the way for enforcement of national databases and registries like Do Not Call, Do Not Originate, and even marketing opt-in. We can even imagine other benefits to this centralization of national traffic, such as OBR enforcement in cooperating economic regions. So why us? AB Handshake is on a mission to eradicate fraud and return trust to voice and SMS. Our dedication shows through our active participation in fraud working groups and transparency in sharing actionable fraud trends and new attack types with the industry. Our team brings decades of experience to over 160 operators worldwide. Our solutions offer carrier-neutral alternatives for real-time fraud detection and prevention and save our customers millions each month. Having successfully delivered a number of solutions for operators and carriers, we developed the National Anti-Fraud Platform to meet the needs of regulators and nations seeking a truly comprehensive solution to spoofing and fraud. Let's get into some of the techie details of the platform. First, let's look at AI. These models continuously refine their understanding of normal traffic patterns, such as typical call duration and seasonal OTP peaks, and detect deviations indicative of fraud. Over time, the AI engine self-improves, adapting to new fraud techniques as soon as they emerge. It has both supervised and unsupervised modes. Other modules of the system incorporate industry trend analysis, custom rules, block and allow lists, and IVR warnings. Security and privacy are significant considerations. At the heart of the validation technology is the concept of a call registry. Each participating operator maintains a call registry instance that records call attempts and message events. The call registry runs within the operator's secure perimeter with no third-party access. The system does not access RTP or voice content, and SMS can be validated in hashed mode, or you can specify analysis of the content to comply with local privacy regulations. Most importantly, though, the platform uses a mesh centralized integration model that keeps sensitive data localized while enabling centralized validation queries. The patented protocol relies on mutual TLS encryption to guarantee that data transmitted between operators and non-telco entities and the central platform remains encrypted, mitigating the risk of interception or tampering. The system is able to process the huge amounts of local call and messaging traffic and can be installed in a local data center or hosted by a regulating body. The platform works with SIP, radius, diameter, HTTP, and ISIP, integrating seamlessly with switches, SBCs, STPs, IMS, billing systems, and SIP proxies. And non-telco entities can integrate to the central database with a simple API interface. Finally, the platform's GUI provides operators and regulators with actionable insights, like lists of spoofed calls, fraud trend analysis, and settings to easily customize their blocking rules and alerts to match their specific needs. This solution is proven. We've deployed call validation to combat SIM-box fraud, election-related misinformation, and mass scams. In one case, an operator saw a $70,000 increase in A2P revenue in the first month alone, and customer complaints plummeted among all participating operators. It's novel, it's patented, it's practical, and it's proven, but this is why it's disruptive. Rather than furthering antagonistic relationships between operators and regulators, it helps providers and government entities find common ground and work toward aligned objectives. We all know that collaboration and cooperation are key in fighting fraud in our industry, but when is this actually supported with technology? This is a technological solution for collaboration without sacrificing privacy or competition. The system is built for the present and for the future, and it is designed to incorporate more and more stakeholders, banks, other enterprise, government agencies, new service providers, and more. Authentication is finally coming with 5G, but why have we not been able to apply zero trust principles to other technologies? Now we can. It is difficult to make a one-size-fits-all solution. Many require significant investment and integration, putting an undue burden on smaller networks. The simplicity and flexibility of integration of the AB Handshake National Anti-Fraud Platform makes it accessible to competing networks of all sizes. The ROI has been demonstrated through multiple successful pilot projects, as well as the efficacy of the underlying technologies themselves. But where do we go from here? Our call validation solution is already used by operators internationally, and our community will continue to grow. For countries that have a centralized national fraud platform, integration with this international community becomes that much easier. There are a number of fraud types, such as false answer supervision and call stretching, that our AI detection will soon be able to mitigate, making an even stronger business case for operators. As national solutions incorporate more stakeholders, traffic types, registries, and other protection measures, they will become more comprehensive. This centralized aggregation point will bring countries many benefits in cooperating economic communities, thereby strengthening not just nations, but entire regions, and eventually the world. Although patented, unique, and innovative, the technology alone is not what makes the National Anti-Fraud Platform an innovation. It is not the disruption it brings as much as the cohesion it brings that makes this technology radical. The platform supports the various objectives of the many stakeholders that must unite to fight a common enemy: fraud. Citizens enjoy improved user experience and regain trust in calls and SMS. Enterprise protect revenues from costly losses and their reputations from impersonation. Regulators are able to do their part to improve national security and increase economic activity. Operators can improve interconnect and wholesale revenues, create new revenue streams, provide safer channels, and best of all, achieve compliance easily through collaboration. The AB Handshake National Anti-Fraud Platform brings regulators, operators, and enterprise together to protect their traffic, their country, and the future of telecom. Thanks for your time, and we look forward to your questions.